Let's start with the day 4 part, that is phases of hacking. Okay, so before moving further, we are going to start with the terminologies part. In that, we are going to understand the terminologies to get a better understanding of it. So these are the terms that we are going to use to the start. So first term we have, that is hacker. So hacker means a highly skilled person in computer or security. Okay, so that takes advantages of the weakness available in the system and break into the system that particular weakness, but they don't have any permissions to perform any kind of activities. These guys performs the malicious activities without any permissions, because that's why they know it as a hacker. In hacker, there are some classes. So now let's start with the hacker classes. So our first class is the white hat. So these are the ethical hackers that uses their skills to secure the organization and performs the activity with proper permission. So their sole purpose is to secure the organization. They work with the ethics here. And if the same guy like have the same knowledge and skill set, but their intentions was not pure, so they are not following any kind of ethics, then these hackers, we call it as a black hat hackers. There is one more type, that is a gray hat hackers. Gray hat hackers means those persons that performs activities like for both black and white at various times. So that is why it is known as a gray hat hackers. So gray hat hackers may sometimes violate laws or usual ethical standards, but they do not have the malicious intent like black hat hackers. They are not malicious always like black hat hackers, otherwise they will be a black hat. So basically it depends on time. Sometimes like for their own profit, they perform some activities, some malicious activity, or for their some own profit, they violate some kind of laws. So that is why they don't get gray hat. So for various times, it depends like what are the activities they're performing. Sometimes they act as a white hat hackers, sometimes they act as a black hat hackers. Okay, so these are the gray hat hackers. Let's discuss the next one, that is a suicide hackers. So suicide hackers are the person who hacks the target without having any worry about any kind of punishment like jail. So they don't worry about the final result, like what is going to be happen after this thing was happened. They don't worry about any kind of punishment. Their sole target is just to compromise a target at any cost. Okay, so these are the suicide hackers. The next one is script kiddies. These are the unskilled person. I'm repeating a word here, that is a unskilled. Unskilled. So unskilled person who compromise the system by running some sort of scripts, tools, or any kind of automation software that is basically developed by real hackers. So those persons are known as a script kiddies. The next one was the cyber terrorists. Cyber terrorists are motivated by religious or political beliefs to create fear by disrupting the computer networks. That persons are known as cyber terrorists. The next one is a state-sponsored hacker. These persons are basically hired by the government to penetrate into the system and gain sensitive information, or to secure the organization, or to secure any information of other governments or maybe the same government. Okay, so these are the state-sponsored hackers. These are employed by the government. The last one was the hacktivist. Activist means like those hackers who promotes a political agenda by hacking, or especially by defacing or disabling websites. Like there are two political parties present in a country, and one of them runs a campaign to deface the other political party's image. Then maybe they are going to hack their social media accounts, or they're going to hack their website and put up some logos or some sort of agenda over there. Okay, that basically disrupt their image, or that basically deface their image, or basically deface their web application. So these are the hacktivists. These are the overall 8 hacker classes, okay, that we have discussed. Apart from that, there are a few other terminologies are also available. So the next one was the hacking. So hacking is a process in which attacker tries to break into the system without any permission. And if the person is doing the same process but with the permission or the ethics, then it is going to be known as a ethical hacking. Now let's talk about the next term, that is port. The port is an entry or exit point where a network connection starts and ends. So all the connectivity happens with this port. Okay, so port uses protocols that allows devices to basically communicate in between different devices. Like example, we have a port 21. Port 21 we have. So port 21 uses a protocol that is FTP, File Transfer Protocol. We uses FTP to transfer data from one system to another one. And there is one more protocol that is a HTTP that we use to communicate with the server. That's an application layer protocol that we use. Okay, so mostly applications runs in this protocol. Already there are 65,000 plus ports available. Again, few of them are already reserved for certain protocols. So these are some common ones. So port 43, we use the HTTPS. It is a secure version of HTTP in that SL certificate was installed and the complete communication was encrypted over the channel level. So if the attacker has got any data, then it is going to be encrypted. Like, let me give you an example. So attacker was available in the local area. So there was a local area, attacker was already there. And he's performing some kind of MITM attack that is known as a man in the middle attack. Here the attacker have captured a packet in which the credentials were passing on, but those credentials were encrypted. And to decrypt this, attacker needs a decryption key. So again, it is going to be complex to decrypt the credentials for attacker. So there are three things basically: encryption, hashing, encoding. We uses encryption to maintain the confidentiality of data. We uses hashing mechanism to ensure the integrity of the data. And for encoding, we make sure that data was available. And from these three terms, the term came up that is CIA. They know it as a CIA model. So we are going to discuss this model in a very detailed manner in our next few classes, like what is CIA. So that comes under the first module of ethical hacking. Yeah. So this is about the ports and the protocols. So protocols are the set of rules that determine how the data is transmitted between different devices, same or different network. The next term was a vulnerability. Vulnerability is kind of a weakness or a security loophole that is available in the system. The next one was the exploit. Exploit means if we are taking the advantage of the vulnerability to break into the system, then it is known as an exploit. So these are the few terms that we should know if we are starting in the. So let's close this, the terminology part. We are done with this. Now let's move to the next part, that is our phases of hacking. So let's start one by one. So the phases of hacking, we have 5 steps. Let's discuss one by one. So the first step would be the information gathering. That is also known as a footprinting. In this, we are going to gather the information about the target. In this, there are 2 types of information gathering. First one was the active, second one was the passive. Active footprinting means if we are directly interacting with the target and if we are gathering information, any information with the target, then it is known as a active footprinting. And for passive one, if we are gathering any information without direct interaction, so here we are repeating a word called indirect interaction.
I don't know what do you mean by 8:30, because this is India time I'm following, and I am.
Oh, anyone have any doubt? Just let me know, or you can unmute yourself. Okay, no issues. Let's move forward. So the passive interaction was indirect. Okay, we gather the information indirectly, and in the active, we gather the information directly from the target. So let me give you an example like how these things work. Suppose there is a target called Prashant. Prashant is our target. And if I'm calling the Prashant and gathering the information about the Prashant, like what's the date of birth of yours, and what is your email ID, and where do you live, what was your exact location, and what are your daily activities that you perform. So Prashant knows, like someone is asking their information or someone is gathering their information. So Prashant has the idea like who is gathering their information. In this, we are directly interacting with the target. This is why it is known as a active footprinting. But if someone is gathering the information from my friends or my relatives, then it is not directly interacting with me. It is gathering in the information from others, from indirect sources. So that is why it is known as passive footprinting. In this, all the interaction was indirect. Target is not aware about us. We gather the information from multiple sources like search engines, job portals, and there are other platforms and tools that are available that we use to gather the passive information gathering. Okay, that we use to perform the passive information gathering. So this is about the 2 types. We are going to deep dive into these. Okay, in the next few minutes. So just wait. Anyone have any doubt? I think say that you have unmuted yourself.
I just wanted to ask that, information gathering, is it the same as reconnaissance?
Yeah, so you can see that because in reconnaissance we covers the information gathering and the scanning part. So the combination, you can say, okay, for reconnaissance part. In short, it's a recon, okay, whatever we are doing. We are basically collecting the information about the target by using multiple resources, tools, or techniques. Anything
Okay,
else?
okay, thanks.
Okay, so the question would be here, like, why are we performing the information gathering? So the answer is, the more we know about our target, then the better we can craft the attack as an attacker to bypass the security checks. So we gather all publicly available information about our target into the first phase. That is our information gathering. Okay. So what are the things that we can achieve from the target? This is a application like exist. So maybe there was a domain name, maybe there was a subdomains are also available, and IP address, web server information about the CMS they are using or plugins, or some technologies as well, and information about the companies, like about their future plans and how exactly they works. Okay, details about their employees, and if we dig more into the employee details, then we can also get the DOB, name, address, and everything from the other social media handles of their employees. We can gather the information from job portals as well, like what are the company's exact requirements and how many employees are working there, or are they leaking any kind of sensitive information over any publicly available platform. We can use different techniques, like we can use search engines like Google, Shodan, Census, okay, to collect some past information about the target, and target will be unaware about us because we are not interacting with it. We can use social networking sites like LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter to collect more information about the target. Like we can use job portals like Indeed, LinkedIn, Dice, or Naukri to gather the information about the companies, like what are their main requirements, like are they requiring any kind of new technology. So we will be get an idea, like in the background they are using any sort of new technology in their infrastructure. We can use some alert services as well to monitor the activities into our target. We can use the blogs, forums, or groups to gather more information about our target. We can use internet archives. The internet archives means the archived versions of websites that we use to perform information gathering about the target. So let me give you an example. So the latest version of Facebook page today and versus the oldest version of Facebook page that is available on 2015, it will be completely different. So, but by using the archive, you will be able to see the older version of Facebook page as well. So we are going to do the practical for that now in just few minutes. Just wait for the practical part. So now we are just discussing what are the things that we can perform with the information gathering part. So we can check the online reputation of the target. We can enumerate the domains. We can gather the information about the target location, like it's a geographical location that we can use. Okay. So these are the few techniques that we are going to use in the information gathering part, because it's a quite huge process. It takes, like, reconnaissance takes a lot of time. Okay. It depends like what are the things you are doing for your target. It depends on your checklist. So we are going to do a practical of this thing. So just wait for a few minutes. Okay, so this is the first phase. In the second phase, we are going to perform the scanning. In this, we are going to scan our target for open ports. Then we are going to check, is there any services are running over there? So like if the port is open, then yeah, obviously there would be any services running over there. And if the service was running over there, then we can check like if there is any vulnerability available for that service, or are they disclosing any kind of version over there, and that version was audited, then we can do some research over there. So there would be a question like how the scanner identifies like port is open or closed. To understand this, let me draw a diagram for you. So here, this one is a client and this one is a server. So now when the communication happens, in the starting, client sends the SYN packet, that is basically synchronized, to initiate the connection. Example would be like it is initiating the connection from client to the server. This is kind of a hello. So suppose you are calling your friend, then in the starting to initiate the connection, you will say hello. And in the response, if your friend is basically telling you hello, that means connection was established successfully. So in the response, you will get one more packet. Let me draw a line, draw arrow. So in the first connection, you will send the SYN packet. And in the response, if the target is responding with this, that is SYN plus acknowledgement, that means port was open because communication was happening over there. And after that, further communication was okay, like if we have to close the connection, then we can send the one more packet, that is reset. Reset is going to reset the connection. So if we are receiving the SYN plus acknowledgement in the second phase from the server, that means port was open and the server was replying with the open port. Okay, that's how a scanner determines generally the open ports over the server. But there are some different types of scans are available over the tool. So in the scanning part, generally we uses Nmap. So Nmap is a tool that we uses in the scanning. So here we have Linux operating system. As you can see, it is pre-installed in our Linux operating system. So we are going to use this tool, and by using this tool, you can perform port scanning. Okay, and you can identify the different vulnerabilities over the port. You can identify the services running over that port. You can identify, like, is there any version they are disclosing. You can identify operating systems as well by using flags called O. And in the Nmap, there are multiple flags types are also available, like stealth scan, like how you can perform pin scan, Xmas scan. So we are going to see these scan types in a very detailed manner in the training part. Okay, but for now we are just understanding about the scanning topic, like what are the things that we do in the scanning. So in the scanning, we just analyze the open ports over the target and the services that is running over there. And if any service was running, then is it vulnerable with any outdated public exploit over there? So these are the things that we do in the scanning part. So vulnerability scanning is also done by a few of the scanners, and Nmap have the NSE scripts that basically enhances the capability of Nmap tool. So by using these scripts, you can perform some sort of scans, like suppose if you have to scan the SSL ciphers, then you can use this scripts. So the command would be like -" script equals to the NSE script name. Like full command would be nmap IP address like 192.168. This is just an example IP address I have taken. So suppose if you have to run a script scan, then you can use this command. So here we are using a script that is sl-enum-ciphers. So that script we use to enumerate the ciphers available over the target. So like that, there are multiple scripts are available in the Nmap that we can use to perform the script scan from the Nmap. After that, we have a third phase, that is a gaining access. In the gaining access, we are going to exploit the vulnerability that we have identified during the first and second phase. Okay, and we are going to exploit that vulnerability and gain the access of our target machine. So for exploitation, the common tool would be Metasploit. So Metasploit is a framework that have multiple modules are available, and from that module you can perform multiple operations, like again scanning, exploitation, and post exploitation. So in that, we are going to perform the exploitation part overall to gain the system access. After that, we are going to learn about the maintaining access. In maintaining access, we have to install the malicious applications to make the connection persistent. So for that, we are going to install the backdoors or malicious applications into the target system to make our connection persistent. And to make the connection persistent, I'll suggest use the static IP instead of dynamic, because if you are using static IP, then your IP is not going to be changed till the time you have paid for the subscription, okay, or till the time you have paid for the IP. Your IP is not going to be changed, and you will get a persistent connection from your target machine to your own machine. So in the maintaining access, we are going to open a backdoor to make the connection persistent. Let's talk about the last phase, that is a clearing trace. In this phase, we are going to clear all the activities we have performed from the first phase to the last phase, that is a maintaining access, so that in future, like if the investigation was happened, then they will not able to figure out like how the attacker was entered, because we have already cleared our footprints in the last phase. So it would be difficult for them to completely analyze the attack, to completely investigate the attack over there. So this is about the phases of hacking. So these are the 5 steps that we performs while doing any activity. Okay, so these are the main 5 steps. Okay, so we have just theoretically checked it. Now we are going to do the practical of that, like how we can do the information gathering about our target. So that is it for the day 4. Okay, just let me know if you have any doubts for the day 3 and day 4, because now we are going to move forward with the practical part. So day 5 and day 6 we are going to cover now.